Hello, warriors. This is part two of what to do when the narcissist dies. And I came up with this part two because my second grandmother died. And we were not that close. We weren't as close as my other grandmother. But of course, there was something to her, and there was something that moved me. And the first thing was that it was my father, of course, her son, who sent me an email saying that she died. So I wanted to take this opportunity to continue this sequence of how to do when a narcissistic abuser dies or an enabler dies or someone from the narcissistically abusive family structure, which is all intertwined. And the first thing is that yes, the family is a structure by itself. So if one of them dies, you are going to have to deal with the emotions of not only what you feel by that person dying, but also the fact that you are not there for the rest of them, for the rest of the family. Normally, this is guilt, sadness, nervousness, and that's what I felt in my case. I was very close to my father, although he was very abusive to me. I went no contact with him about 3 years ago, and I did feel a lot of confusing emotions, and I did feel like a terrible daughter for not being there for him, and not especially for not being there for my dead grandmother who's dead, you know? So I think this is the first thing that you should ask yourself and tell yourself is, this is a place where I also have to deal and calm is key here, because our first impulse, like I say in another video, is just like, just jump on a plane or whatever and go to the funeral. But that can be so counterproductive, because you maybe went no contact with your family, and if you did, it was for a reason. So it serves nothing to go to a funeral. It serves nothing that the person, whoever it is dead. Death, like Ollie Matthews would say, as a great YouTuber, doesn't excuse the narcissist and the enablers. Death doesn't change the abuse. There was abuse, period. Death does not change it. So deal with your feelings, how you feel towards everyone around who was having this period of grief. You can do it by writing, like I like doing it. Talking to a therapist is good. Talking to someone is good. Talking to a friend, etc. But you have to acknowledge that the death of one person is going to affect your feelings towards the whole family, and especially the closest members of that death person. Processing emotions also has to do with, of course, grieving the person who died. And I have discovered that in this case, what I have done, I wrote a letter again to my grandmother, and I discovered that I had a lot of rage. I had a lot of rage that she never protected me from my parents. So that was coming off very, very strongly. And I even cleaned my whole house, which for me is very hard. So if I'm cleaning, it's because I'm fucking mad. Must be more mad sometimes. I think I need to be angry because my house is a mess. Anyway, yes, I cleaned my whole house. I wrote a letter, and then I did something that I hadn't done yet, but is very used in therapy, which is I read the letter out loud as if my grandmother was there. This is like the chair technique. So normally you do it, you imagine the person is sitting in a chair, and you do it, and it was, I have to admit, it was really, really good. I mean, normally you do this with therapists because the therapist can intervene and direct you. But if you don't have that opportunity, just writing down everything you think and then saying it out loud to someone as if the person was there is so cathartic. I felt so good. So this is definitely a tip. and it saves you the pain in the ass of going to a funeral that you really don't want to attend. Because you can have, as I said previously, your funeral, your private ceremony. And that private ceremony can be what you think the person deserves. So in my last grandmother that died, I went on a hike and I really made an effort because we were very close. So I buried a letter under a tree and there was a song and everything. And this time I was like, fuck the hike. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not losing my day for this person who neglected my feelings my whole life. She was never there for me. So I'm just gonna stay at home, write a letter, say it. And because she was cremated, I then burned the letter. And that's it. And that was my ceremony. That's what you deserve, old lady. Anyway, yeah, I hope this video helps. Processing narcissistic people, processing grief from narcissistic abuse is never easy. But already I have 2 videos with 2 ideas of how to do it, so I hope they help. They sure helped me. And yes, I wish you, as always, happy healings.